Good morning. My name is Audrey. I am StitchyWitch42 on Instagram, and this is my very first FlossTube video. I have been watching FlossTube for about 8-9 months now. Started around the beginning of the year when my sister Patty told me about it. She had discovered FlossTube, and we would go out to lunch and she'd say, "Have you seen FlossTube? Are you watching FlossTube? Are you watching these ladies?" And she started giving me the names of people to watch. And it took a while, but I finally went and turned on YouTube and checked out FlossTube, and I was hooked. There are so many people out there, and you all know who you are because you're doing FlossTube, and you're sharing your love for this craft, and you're helping to make this craft better known and encouraging people and coming together as a community and just being the awesome people that you are. Thank you. So I've been thinking about doing this for months and months and months, and I've been running scenarios through my head, and I finally realized the only way I'm going to do it is if I sit down and do it. I've asked both my husband and my son for suggestions and ideas how to do this, and basically what it boils down to, it's just like with cross stitch. You got to take that first step. I have the camera sitting in front of me. I have it turned on. It's my first step. Let's hope it goes okay. So anyway, a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Audrey. I live in Silverton, Oregon with my husband, Mark. Probably about an hour, hour and a half from Bendy Stitchy, Michelle, down in Eugene. So, hi, Michelle. I've been stitching for about 38 years. I started my first piece when I was pregnant with my oldest child, my daughter, Erin. It's a birth announcement, and I still have it upstairs. Her birthday is later on this month, and she will be 38, so therefore I know how long I've been stitching. When I first started, I was a young mother. I had no money to do anything like this, and I went to Michael's. I found that small birth announcement. I think it was only a couple bucks at the time, and I did it, and that's the only thing that I did for quite some time. No, that's not true. I made her Christmas stocking that year. After making her Christmas stocking, I don't think I did any more stitching until I was pregnant with my son Philip, and then I made a Christmas stocking for him. And then there was a long stretch of time when I didn't do any stitching at all because young mom, no money. It wasn't until probably, I would say, in the 15 to 18 year ago range that I actually got back into stitching. And then I got into it with a vengeance. The only place I could find anything to stitch was at Michael's. That was the only place that was available to me, so I would go and I would buy kits and I would work on them. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just saw something I liked, took it home, read the directions, and started stitching. And I think for the most part I did pretty good. I do have a pillow that I made upstairs that, on the patterns how they have that thin gray strip that says it overlaps the previous page so you're not supposed to stitch it? Yeah, well, the first time I did a pattern like that, I didn't know that, so I have extra stitches in the middle of the pattern, but oh well, that's how you learn. The reason why I started to do this video this morning is because I wanted to share something that I am working on that I think is pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. I did a Google search. I honestly don't know what it was that I was looking for, but when I look for patterns, I do a Google search, I go to images, and then I just start exploring. And I found this pattern, and I thought that I would get it and stitch it, as you do. And Anyway, it's a book cover. The pattern actually tells you how to make your own book, which I'm not going to do. The problem with the pattern is that it doesn't tell you what size material to use or what size stitch to use. The template in the back says that it's 4.5 by 5.5 inches. I'm sorry. Four and a quarter by 5.5. I guess I could have gone to the stitch calculator and figured out what size material I was supposed to use and what size stitch to use, but that would be too easy. Instead, I went and found a piece of 28 count even weave, and I tea stained it myself, and I started stitching it 2/2. I love the colors that are in the pattern, and so I have stuck with them. And as I stitched it, I realized that it was going to end up being bigger than what the template on the pattern calls for. I like the idea of it being a book cover, so I went to Michael's the other day, and they had these art journals on sale for $5, and I bought one, and I brought it home, and what I did is I took my piece out of the Q-snap, and I wrapped it around the journal. So it is going to fit, except it's not really long enough for me to wrap around the bottom or the top. So when I'm done, I'm going to have to add a piece of fabric along the bottom and the top so that I can wrap it over the journal. This is the front of the pattern. There is a spine and there is a back. I haven't started either one of those. But what I decided to do was to take red floss and mark the spine. You can see where I've taken the red floss and I've made those two vertical lines. That is where the spine will be on this. What I am working on this morning is this side over here. Again, while I had it wrapped around the book, I'm just marking off this edge, and then I will mark off the back edge over here, so I have my own template. And then I'm also going to go through and I'm going to do a red stitch across the top, because this much of the fabric up here, I don't know if you can see it, is the waste material. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to mark it off on the top and the bottom so that I know where to add my extra fabric, so that when I am finished with all my stitching, I can wrap it around my journal and have a completed book. A witch's magical book of brews and potions. So that's all I have to say this morning. I hope that somebody is entertained by this, and I look forward to watching everybody else's FlossTube videos, and I wish you all a very stitchy day. Thank you.